Big I'm your host, Josh Denny. With me, as always, the one and only Big Spit Carl Spitali.
It's good coffee right there.
Yeah, you got a little iced action.
I made it.
If you're trying to follow us along on Patreon today, I fucked up and forgot to set that up, so you'll just have to catch it after the fact. But listen, X is where it's at. That's where we want to see you.
X is where it's at. Look at the quality of the sexy ass video too.
It looks pretty good today. We've got, the studio is a living organism that sort of gets improved every episode, every week. It's almost like, rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
What are you, a sailor?
I come from a line of sailors.
Listen, if you and me are on a ship,
a lot is going
I don't
bad.
know about that tide.
Yeah.
Ain't a lot rising, I don't know what ship we would be on, but
the SS Whites.
Amistad?
Yeah, no. First
couldn't get me on one of them stinky ass boats.
Yeah. Sure. You would have been a terrible seaman. You would have been a terrible slave shipman.
I just think weren't like all of them black guys
that hold on. Yeah, but
no, I mean like
not the crewmen. You think the crewmen were also, how awful would that be, right?
So white guys had to sail over there?
Yeah. Who's going to trade rifles,
I just think it's so insane to think about. Like you would go there and be like, ugh, let's go back. And then just I just never imagined somebody would sail across the entire Atlantic Ocean to do that. When after a while you're just like, dude, just bring them. Just
Also, Carl, though, you're forgetting that there were no a bunch of whites went over there, threw nets over.
Oh yeah, that's of course.
That's what we threw net. We netted them. We caught them like tuna.
Right. That's right. Nobody sold them.
Nobody sold. It wasn't
not for 400 years.
Yeah, no, it wasn't other Africans selling them. Now,
no.
Carl.
It was only whites.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
We netted them up like
there wasn't
tuna.
Barbarians or any of that.
Yeah.
There was no Arab slave trade that they learned from.
Most of them didn't go to Egypt and all those other places.
It's
what are we trying to get into Factville here today?
I don't know. It was just a weird thing, but it's a big ugly thing. History.
Yeah.
You know who has a big ugly history?
Who's that?
The Philadelphia Flyers.
Ugh. It's like what's crazy about the Flyers, other than the years of agony, are they're considered the original 7. Like a lot of people don't remember if they're not big.
I thought it was only
fans.
original 6.
There was an original 6, but a lot of people, because the Flyers came in the league and won 2 Stanley Cups very early on, a lot of people, and they have such a fervent fan base and everything else, a lot of people think the Flyers are the 7th team. Right? They think they're the most prestigious franchise of the next
fans.
6, right? Penguins fans obviously staunchly disagree with this, clearly, because they're also part of that next 6, but you could argue that the Flyers are the only franchise with the kind of fan base that the original 6 franchises have, right?
Chicago,
the Leafs, the Rangers, your original 6 teams, the Red Wings, the Flyers are probably right behind them in terms of crazy psycho fucking fans. But but since then, by the way, the reason I bring up the back-to-back Stanley Cups in the 60s is because they ain't won shit since then.
Nothing. The Phillies have won since then.
Phillies have won. The Eagles won a fucking Super Bowl since then. And the Flyers have not had any success. Honestly, the Flyers, with the exception of the 2010 run against the Blackhawks, they haven't made a final since 97 when they got swept by the Red Wings with Lindros. And before that, I don't even know when the last time was they were in a final. Maybe in the 80s.
This is crazy because we haven't made the final since 99, and I thought that was crazy.
The Sabres.
Yeah.
So it's like, when we talk about droughts in sports for franchises and stuff,
all my teams come to mind.
Yeah. But the Flyers are there.
Sabres,
and it's like the Flyers have had a great season, but it's like now you're looking at 2 games back to back, like hard fought games. One was a low scoring game against the Rangers. They end up losing 2-1. Then they have a fucking shootout the next day with the Penguins. They lose 7-6. But more than that, this week in the Penguins game, Jamie Drysdale, who had been coming on for them, really just got obliterated, and it looks like it's that same shoulder injury that knocked him out all last year. So that's a concern that he's probably done for the year. And then Konechny's out. And then the question you have to ask is, if these guys have lingering injuries, do you bring them back? I'm jumping ahead.
Freud.
Do you bring them back for a playoff push, or do you go, fuck it, let's sell off the guys with contract years. Let's not worry about winning the rest of these games. Let's get our good players healthy. Let's let our young players play. And, you know, we might go from being solidly in the playoff conversation to out of it altogether.
I think one of the best abilities is availability, and you have plenty of players that don't have that.
Yeah.
And it's a problem now.
Well, and you got to remember, Atkinson missed last year. Couturier missed the last 2 years.
It's a problem now.
It's a consistent issue with, and I'll tell you, there was a lot of talk that there's some issues in the room or in the building, I should say, when it came to like rehab and
player
training and treatment and stuff. Now, supposedly they made a lot of changes to try to correct that. But this is not an exclusive to Philadelphia thing. Robin Leonard and Jack Eichel talk immensely about the problems in Buffalo in the training room and in the rehab and shit like that is why they wanted out. And you know, Leonard's like, I've got permanent fucking back problems because of the bad medical treatment from the time I was in Buffalo. And we all know the Jack Eichel story.
Yeah, he won a title in Vegas.
Well, but had to demand a trade out of Buffalo, and it was entirely because of how they handled or mishandled his injuries.
And then, you know, when Tage got hurt, I worried the same thing.
Yeah. So that, you know, there's it's weird because it's, and I told you this about playing growing up. Like, some people look at me physically and they go like, oh man, you played like high level ice hockey. And I go, yeah. And they just go like, how? And I go, yeah, when we grew up playing sports, there wasn't sports science of any kind. Like, you know what my coaches suggested when I wasn't playing at the rink? To play more hockey away from the rink.
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't like you need to build muscle in your lower body. You need to lose weight. You need to eat right. You need to cut carbohydrates, reduce inflammation. All the shit that seems like common sense now for athletes is not common sense.
No,
in 1995.
It was just play year round.
Yeah, that was it. Play street hockey, play ice hockey, just keep playing. And it's like, if you're in bad physical shape or your skating form is not great, you're going to develop bad habits. Yeah. And that definitely happened to me where I skate. It didn't bother me because I was a goalie, but I would have never been able to play ice hockey at a high level as a skater because I learned how to skate on rollerblades and my form and technique was completely fucked.
So why do you think that translates to why the Flyers eat shit?
I don't think that's why they eat shit. I think they're way overperforming. They're way overperforming what their expectations were this year because I think
rebuild was the expectation.
Yeah, and I think they are a good team, but now that they're getting dinged up, you're seeing that they're a good team with no depth. And that is what Briere and Torts have been saying is like, everyone's like, you know, we could make a trade for somebody like Gaudreau, right? Like we could send a Morgan Frost and some picks for a Johnny Gaudreau and make a real playoff push. And it's like, yeah, until one or two of these guys get dinged up and then you're a fucking tank team again.
Yeah.
Like, so Briere knows, like, dude, the 2010 Flyers team that made the finals against the Blackhawks and went 6 games and lost had an all-star lineup. And the difference is the Blackhawks also had an all-star lineup, but a goalie, right? And so the biggest problem there was, you know, Briere knows you can have a great goalie. You can have a great starting lineup. If you don't have a great third, fourth line, that's a top 2, like if your third and fourth line guys aren't top 6 players on another team, you're not winning a cup.
Well, if you
look at Vegas and Florida last year,
I think a lot of the problem goes to they didn't see the Carter Hart problem ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did. They were trying to trade him at the draft.
Yeah, but trading him and still starting him in all the games is different, right? Because Urson should have been playing more games instead of
that
splitting the time.
That I agree with.
Because then you have, you know, Cal Peterson, who
get obliterared on Sunday,
who gets whooped.
Yeah.
So now you went from, it's the same thing we talk about in football. You have you have 2 great quarterbacks. You don't have any. And like the league and the NHL went to a point where you needed to have a really good backup who, spells that goalie. But the starter, it can't be like this on the fence. And the whole year, they've known this without being proactive and taking the steps to go, what if he's not here?
Yeah.
And I think that contributes to them eating shit. And I would say, speaking of eating shit, did you watch SNL?
That's a hell of a setup of a segue. That's you thought our buddy Shane ate shit?
I think he's a.
I think first of all, I'll say this. You pointed this out, and I went back and rewatched it, and because you said I watched it live, and I was like, dude, I was like, buddy, he's struggling. Like, and he's admitted, he's like, people in the room are not liking me. The place is well lit. I could see everybody not enjoying it. You can see the band behind him for the first 2/3 of it, giving him no love at all, which I didn't think it was about the material. I didn't think it was his performance at all. I was like, oh no, did they try to set this motherfucker up to make him look bad? And I feel like there was some of that in the room, some of that energy in the room. I would love to hear what he has to say about it, because I have a feeling he'll tell us some of that. But then you pointed out to me, go back and watch the replay, and it feels like there's more laughs piped in. And I go, okay, well, if they did that, that's good, because at least that means the network wasn't trying to hang him out to dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they put a laugh track up. My only thing was, did I say this? I think he's a tremendous talent. I think he's a phenomenal comedian.
I think he's one of the best comedians around today.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I think he's phenomenal. And I see him as a peer, and I was highly disappointed. Yeah. Because and I don't have to get into all this, but the fact of the matter is, you watch everybody's else's all the comedians podcasts,
which we did
leading up to this, and it was Theo Vaughn, the Legion of Skanks,
Louis J. Gomez,
the Legion of Skanks guys on the various podcasts, and everybody was just like, this is huge, this is amazing. Every single one of them
wanted
said,
him to do something.
Part of me wants him to just go tell them to go fuck themselves, and blah, blah. Maybe he will, whatever.
Maybe he'll walk off the show. Maybe we had all these theories, you and I, where I was like, dude, it would be epic if he went up there and was like, these guys tried to ruin my life, and now I'm going to ruin their show. Bye.
And then you watch, even again, Louis J. Gomez thing. He has guests on there, buddies of Shane, that knew for a month
that he was going to be on there. Yeah.
I didn't say nothing. So it says to me that he had a month to prepare. He's rep by CAA. So they knew they were trying to get him that gig before that month.
Yeah.
So let's give it 2 months.
This has probably been honestly, this has probably been in the works for
the last
6 months or a year. Yeah.
So knowing that, and his team goes, it's looking really close. It's looking like you really are going to host SNL. Okay. Then they announce you are hosting SNL. We won't announce it for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That whole month. Not a single joke or bit about it. Not a single joke or a bit.
Or like a roasting. You mean like more nothing. Roasting of the show?
There was no roasting. There was no, all he said was, don't look it up. I got fired from the show. Don't look it up.
Yeah.
And everybody in those podcasts brought up, go watch Norm. Look how he did it. I mean, this is a legend. This is legendary. This put cancel culture on its face. And be like, no, it didn't. What they did was they desperately begged for a guy who made it without them to come back.
The show begged.
Yeah. NBC essentially is like, yo, we need you.
Yeah.
And instead of breaking that fourth wall and judge, he resorted back to doing bits we already saw on specials and other taped performances.
Well, my take on it is, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because there's a level of analysis that starts to look like envy. But for me, my take on it was like when he
I was just disappointed.
Yeah. When he had because there's the punk rock part of you that wants to be like shit in their mouths. You know what I mean? But for me, the way I took it was like, so he does podcast a bunch talking about how he never wanted it, never thought he could have it, and then got it. And it was like, I've heard him tell the story many times where he's like, dude, it's everyone you've ever met in your life calling you going, oh my God, dude, Saturday Night Live. Like, this is whether you think that show is still the institution it was, in the minds of mainstream people, it is the
Right.
top of the fucking food chain in comedy. Even though we all know that the sketches that Shane has done since getting fired from SNL are 10,000 times better than anything SNL has put out. Like Gillian Keys, if you haven't watched it, is like 1,000,000 times better. But what it smelled of me was like, you robbed me of my chance to do this in front of my family and the world. And now that you're giving me a chance, I'm going to prove that I could have done this in front of my family and the world. And that's all it felt like. And it's like, so from that perspective, like I can understand of going like, this may be the only shot I ever have to do this. And I just want to prove that I could have done it. And I get it from that perspective. Like I get it. I wouldn't have made the same choice. I would have shit everywhere and thrown, like if Food Network ever calls me back and goes, we want to make good with you and have you back. Like, don't do it live. I'll tell you right now, whatever it is, don't do it live. It better be a pre-taped Guys Grocery Games because it will go fucking south. I will have sex with Paula Dean in the middle of the fucking game show.
Yeah. Well, just for me, like I said, like I held them at for me, I just held them at a higher esteem.
Yeah.
Than I thought.
You thought he was going to do some Chappelle level, Louis level shit?
No, I just thought he would, even Kevin Hart level, where Kevin Hart told the Oscars go fuck themselves after they begged to have him back 2 years after not apologizing.
Yeah.
And in that, I'm just saying, dude, if you are the man and I'm more mad at the response to him than him. I'm more mad.
I get that.
I'm more mad that everybody from Tim Dillon to everybody's like, this ended cancel culture. It didn't. This is it. Punching him in the mouth.
I hate to tell you, there's still a fucking Mexican janitor getting fired for tweeting something pro-Trump today.
Yeah, but here's
like, dude, it's that's still happening.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous because, dude, he's repped by CAA. He just signed a massive Bud Light fucking deal. He is mainstream, and he was showing you, hey, I can play ball, guys.
Yeah.
Instead of going like they all brought up Norm and there's like, this is like Norm level shit. And it's like, it's not. He did old bits you've already seen. He had a month to write something. He didn't. And in the moment resorted back to that instead of he could have shat all over the show and still did the show.
Yeah.
Because Norm did it.
Yeah.
So to act like he couldn't
even a joke of like, you know, since I got fired from the show, I started podcasting. If you guys don't know what a podcast is, it's a thing that about 1,000 times more people watch than this show. Like you could have tastefully roasted them a little bit.
Or just like, yo, they got me doing these sketches with all these gay guys.
Yeah.
And they hate me.
Yeah, dude. Something like that.
But even
would be cool.
So because that didn't happen, and they resorted to being like, look at Shane. He really did this for all of us. And the most edgy, controversial thing he did
got cut from the show.
No, was the thing that is accepted by mainstream America.
Yeah.
That you got in trouble for in 2018. Basically straight white male stuff. And instead of saying straight white male, he was like, dude, it's okay. You could say cracker.
Yeah.
He literally did a story bit where it's like, yo, it's okay to say cracker. It's okay to be racist against whites because I made blacks the hero of this story.
Yeah.
So it's okay, guys. And I was just like, don't pander to them. They didn't want you here.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that is the thing that I have a problem with, the concept of edge, right? And people talk about edgelord and everything else, is like everybody wants to ignore like the context of a joke. And they also, and I don't like when people do what you're talking about, where they pretend it's edgy, but it's like, yeah, but you're safeguarding yourself. Like you're doing a joke about race, but the joke about race is black kids beating up a white kid for calling your retarded niece retarded, which only a white kid would do because now white kids are the villains in every fucking childhood movie.
I think I even tweeted, yeah, because black guys have never beat up a retard.
Oh, yeah,
you know, like it was just like.
And then I think that was immediately followed by 1,000 videos of black kids beating up physically disabled or mentally disabled kids in the comments.
It's just like one of those things, like where I don't want. Again, I'm not shitting on him for anything other than I held him to a higher.
You wanted more. You wanted more.
Well, I just looked at it. It was just like, you know, damn, maybe he's, and you don't even admit this, but I mean, there are when you look at other comedians, you go, oh, maybe they're better than me. Maybe they're this. And that now I'm just like, we are so equals, bro. I'm just not famous.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I looked at like my joke writing, my impressions, and I go, we're so equals, dude. It's not even funny. Like, cause I look at it as like, cool. Cause once they check my shit out, I'm good. Like that's how I felt after a special. And then in this one, that further cemented it that like, oh, I was putting him on a pedestal because of the SNL firing of the stick it to the man shit. I put him in a higher pedestal than maybe I should have. And again, that's my own disappointment. It's not saying that, he ate shit like what, because for the most part of people who don't, and this is why I hate laugh tracks and why they piped in the laughter, is that they don't know at home what that sounds like or what bombing really is unless it was dead silent and crickets. But fucking,
well, you can tell like whether he was bombing or just not doing as well as he normally does.
The band gives it away.
No, he was clearly reacting in his fucking react. He's like,
he was saying
a lot of you guys are not liking this right now. Like you could tell after every joke, he's like, all right, like you could tell by his body language that they were not responding in a positive way dude, whatsoever.
It's live to the world. It's nerve-wracking, gotta be. But at that point, I'm sorry, dude. And maybe I'm built different, or maybe I just think different. But at that point, they begged for you to come back. You're there, dude.
Yeah, it's you own it.
Dude,
you own it.
You gotta have the biggest fucking cojones in that building and be like, dude, I'm the shit, bitch. I need toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like, and bring some air freshener.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I talked about this weekend. I think one of the reasons why you and I are so principled when it comes to comedy is that, and it's a little different for us, is that comedy was not my first choice, even as an artist. Like, I wanted to be a musician, and it is also not the only career I've ever had. I was a corporate executive, very successful, at a very young age with no college degree. So like, I don't look at comedy as like, oh my God, this is the only way I'll ever make money. And as a matter of fact, I still don't make a ton of money at it, right? I make money from comedy, but I make money from other shit too. Podcasting, gambling, side gigs, selling guitars. You know what I mean? Like, I make money from whatever the fuck I can. I'll fucking, you give me a fucking tuber, you give me a fucking tuber, I'll get you something out of it.
You get me a tuber.
I'm an artist, So like, I like to squeeze some fucking money out of it. That's how I feel about, From the Departed. But I think because we decided to be comedians after showing that we could have done all these other things or did do all these other things, we have more of a affinity and a holistic approach to it, right? Like, you are a fucking high level athlete.
Yeah. So
almost on the cusp of the NFL, like, on the edge.
Yeah. I just got cut from NFL teams.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like, so you don't go into comedy going, if I fuck this up, I'll never have anything. And I do think a lot of these guys, people forget that, like, a lot of these dudes who have TV shows and shit, they went to college and then they got into comedy. Like, they didn't work in an office for 10 years. They didn't wait tables for a decade. They didn't do construction forever. And I do believe that's why, like, guys like me, you, guys like Anthony, guys like Gavin, we have a different, like, a more holistic thought about comedy, about purity about comedy and being funny over everything else and limitless, because we've done these other jobs. We know how backbreaking real work is. And it's like, if I'm going to do this thing, I want it to be as pure and amazing as it can be.
Yeah. It's also like why you look at just an example of that is somebody like Colin Jost, right? He's a Harvard guy who then gets right into like comedy writing for a fucking major show and then ends up becoming like fucking head writer type shit. And he's never in sketches. He's just the Weekend Update guy, which you never were able to do.
Yeah. But Colin Jost doesn't have like a 5-year background of like laying brick.
But
you know what I mean? Like,
or any, but well, that's my example is just that, like, so anything he says on like that could be controversial, could be like he would tone it down, or if he ever had any problems or anything like that, he would have to apologize. This is because it goes back to the whole, why does cancel culture even exist? For a lot of people, it's because they didn't build their audience, right? Like the reason that you can't cancel Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle is that because their audience wasn't built based on the network telling you need to follow this guy.
Right.
The reason that, Rogan can sign a $250 million deal is because nobody gave him the audience. The powers that be want his audience.
Right.
And it's the opposite for a lot of these people, where they were like, this is the next up and comer. They threw him in a Comedy Central this and HBO that. They're on the fucking Freeform show or whatever. And now it's like they got to toe the line or they're going to have to apologize or everything goes with it because they know they can't build it back up.
Yeah.
And that's where the towing the line comes in. And as far as Shane goes, and the takes that everybody has is that Shane is this counterculture guy who has this rabid fan base who wants him. And I was, part of that, who participated in putting up on this pedestal. And then like taking a step back and he's just like, well, he doesn't have an opinion on anything really.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have a stance on anything really. And I go, okay, so he's saying funny things just for the sake of being funny. And then it's like,
which is fine. I mean, fine. It's a flavor of,
but I'm not going to act like it's something different.
Listen, it's a flavor of comedy, but it's really good vanilla.
Yeah. And then so people are like, dude, I love Shane. Shane's a fucking button pusher or whatever. It's like, okay, well, we did this already. Break down his special. Go back to the most edgy thing he said in his special was, went to these countries, no black people. I know what you're thinking.
Pretty nice.
No, I'm kidding. No, we need black people to tell us how uncool we are. And then did 5 minutes on how we need black people. I'm like, dude, I have a whole bit on saying why black people make fun of all the other uncool black people because they don't hang around enough white people to make fun of them all day.
Yeah.
That's how Steve Urkel was even a character.
Yeah.
Was black people make fun of nerds.
Yeah.
It's like to act like all black people can dance, all black people have style, all of them can, dress.
And listen, if you've never had a black friend, call another black friend, book reading ass nigga,
or some
you've
shit like that.
never heard that, like bro. I used to hear that shit in the locker room. Yeah,
school ass.
You used to hear that shit in the locker room all the fucking time.
It's just like books.
Yeah.
Out here trying to, you a smarty arty nigga?
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, it's a different culture in which, to give the perspective. That's why they go, man, this white guy is really, he's got it. And Shane used to kill black rooms in Philly. He's done it because of that. And I just thought he would carry that over to SNL. And instead, he's just like, I already got it. And I don't want to lose all this.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I said this line this weekend when I was talking to my mom about it. And I was like, I think the only thing worse than money is having a profound fear of losing it. Yeah. And that's one of the things I'm very grateful for, the struggle in my life, and that I've had all these series of peaks and valleys, because I've never come into any amount of money that I'm like, I don't know what I would do if I lost this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and we were talking about this the other day about people are like, I only got 50 grand left in my savings. I go, dude, I might have had 50 grand in my savings one time in my adult life.
That's actually why I liked Mike Epps' new special.
I had like 6 times that amount at one point when I took a bunch of stock out from Crocs when it was like 20, when I was 23 or 24, I would have been. But it was like, and then I went on to live off of that money for like a year and a half when I was trying to do comedy, I should have moved to New York or LA with that money and been a fucking door guy at the store at 24 and started working my way through to clubs and apprenticing or whatever. But that just wasn't the choice. One of the choices I made and wasn't what I did.
Yeah, but like that's like one of the reasons I liked Mike Epps' new special.
Mike Epps' new special was great
because he he said things like that before, like the money gone, y'all.
Yeah, y'all see
me in movies, the money gone, and then like in a vulnerable way to attack something that black people hold very taboo or look at is sniffing coke, and he let them know that every fucking movie you've ever seen him in where you loved him, you loved that character, he was on coke.
Yeah. And
it's sort of like tearing down this wall of like holding up black celebrities who are so funny in this and black comics and tearing it down, be like, listen, man, it ain't what it seems. I'm not as rich as you think and not anymore. And I did all the shit you accuse white actors and stuff of doing. I did that.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh wow, he's being vulnerable. He's actually telling it and made it funny. And in the new, like, me holding Shane to a pedestal is the same thing that black audience members do to black comics,
like Cat or Mike
Epps.
Yeah,
and holding them to a pedestal where it's higher. Even like Chappelle is like untouchable. He's the GOAT. He was like, Corey Holcomb is the only one who came at Chappelle and was just like, go watch his last 4 specials. All he does is say something and slap the mic on his knee. He's not doing amazing things.
Yeah, I think the difference is, like, I think Chappelle makes great points, right? I think he's Carlin-esque in the points that he makes, but I don't think he's Carlin-esque in making it as funny as George made it. And
well, not anymore.
And then there are a lot of guys who have the funny part and the silly part down. Like, honestly, if you blended Shane and Dave, you'd have a George Carlin, because Shane's got goofy funny on fucking tap, and Dave makes really, really great intellectual points. But to pretend that either one of them are Carlin-esque without the skill set of the other is discounting how good Carlin really was.
Right. And that is like the thing about comedy, right? Is that there are plenty of comedians who I find absolutely hysterical, who are widely successful and mainstream, who are not about having a point.
They're
all. About keeping it silly at all times.
Sebastian's a great one.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest,
yeah.
Right? Steve Martin was probably the big. I enjoy where it's keeping it silly. The point being,
Robin Williams was a great
The point
one.
being with Shane was that we all, when the firing happened, made him something he wasn't.
Which is like this.
We were like, You're Carlin. You're the guy who's sticking it to them. You say all the things that people are afraid to say. And he was like, actually, I just have a foul mouth, but I'm silly.
Mm-hmm.
And we should have saw it then to be like, he doesn't want to be that.
No, he doesn't want to be that guy.
And
that's a really great.
It's really,
by the way,
really fine.
When we say all the time that, like, we want to have the take on the show that nobody else is going to have, that is the one that no one else is going to talk about, is that especially the right wants to anoint Shane as like
this counterculture.
And he doesn't, he's not only is he not that guy, he doesn't want to be that guy.
Yeah. And dude, they need to start realizing that that's fine. And it's, that is fine.
I'm your huckleberry, nigga.
If you need something. But
yeah.
And I don't want to even spend too much time on it, because I think
it's too late for that. We already did it.
But in going that route, like, you and I made a choice to where, like, we just feel like we have too many opinions about too many things. We are sort of well cultured in, like, what is happening. There's plenty of people who are just like, I don't even read the news. I don't get into politics.
Before you get down into that too, you said something really important there that kind of touches on something else from the weekend, is the cultured piece. Because, like, there's this idea that white guys who talk about race or use the N-word in jokes or comedy or in comedic conversation, that it can only ever be racist. And the thing that I don't think people understand is, like, there's a cultural component to it too. Like, part of the vernacular of how you and I talk, right? And this is the way I look at it is, and this is the argument I'll make for everybody. If you think we're the only fucking white guys that talk like this, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
We're the only people who talk like this in front of you.
On camera.
And on camera. And it's like, or on stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got to this point, we're at this time in history and in society where everyone's talking about the importance of living your authentic self. So what you tell me when you're a black person or a woman or a black woman or a gay woman, generally some kind of fucking woman, and telling me, like, it's okay to be yourself, but do it in private. It's like telling a gay person, we don't care if you fuck men, just don't talk about it or let us know about it or be yourself in public. So this idea that, like, me finding racism funny makes me racist because I'm willing to share that it's funny to me in front of black people or anyone who's watching is not racism. It's authenticity. All right. And if you and I are going to sit around and quote Friday or next Friday, hold hold on. I got to hide these because you just look at them while they're on and you completely get pulled out of the episode.
Somebody said this is gay.
Yeah, it's very gay. We're very gay men. But yeah, but it's like, you know, so you have to make a choice as an artist and as a person of like, how much of who I am I just going to hide? And I think being a comedian makes you want to do that less and less and less and less, to the point where I just got to a level of like if I came up watching Friday and Next Friday and making black jokes and doing jokes in black comedy clubs and hanging out with black people and speaking, that I'm not going to white it up like some fucking cracker Uncle Tom, because there are stupid black people who think anytime you use any words that are offensive just because of the color of your skin, that's a no-no. And it's you can't, it's like, you know, people getting mad at the joke that I shared this weekend on Twitter. For the most part, what was hilarious is, and this is what I think is so funny, is people go, oh, you're just doing racist jokes for white people. It's like, go through the likes. You would be fucking shocked how many black fans we have who are like, yo, this shit, wow.
Yeah.
You crazy. And they love it. They love it. What people don't understand is I came up in black comedy clubs and bars. I came up with black comics and black openers. And I was an opener for a lot of big black comics. So it's like
big black
BBCs, baby. Yeah. Remember when I said I love BBCs and you were like, what does that mean? I go, big black comics. Earthquake. Bruce.
I didn't say, what does that mean?
Yeah. Y'all know what it is. So it's just like this idea that you're somehow supposed to just like hide it or restrictor plate it for people who are uncomfortable. Fuck you if what I do makes you uncomfortable. Well, because it's not for you. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me.
The shoe on the other foot, right, would be telling black people, black comics, don't ever talk about white people.
Ever. Yeah.
And the thing about it is just like D.L. Hughley has now become this like race hustling grifter, but his entire set from Kings of Comedy, aside from, 67% crowd work, was talking about, we don't bungee jump, we don't do this, that's white shit. Anything that's ever been labeled adventurous, fun, any of these other things,
risky,
is white shit, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as you critique black behavior and black activities and be like, that's black shit, that's racist.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So like, I am not gonna shy away from being a same type of comic,
right,
that is revered as the fucking kings of comedy, and I can't do the same.
And the funny thing is it's not always criticism. That's what I think is hilarious, is that relation to black culture doesn't always result in criticism. Because there was another thing that happened at the end of the week last weekend where the only people agreeing with us were black people, which was about
disciplining
your kids. Yeah. And I was like, yo, I know there's a video that came out. We have it. But there's a video that came out of a black woman disciplining her son. And listen,
excessively,
right? But my tweet about it was, I know this is hard to watch, but like, it's this or do nothing and maybe he ends up in prison as another statistic. Like, what do you want? Like, obviously the problem that has been beaten to death, pun intended, but the problem that has been beaten to death is these women are having to raise these boys without fathers. And that's because of Democrat policies and liberal wokeism, the idea that you're better off dependent on the state than the man who got you pregnant. Maybe you should pick a partner you can depend on. Maybe black men should hold each other accountable for whether or not they're raising their fucking kids.
Yeah. So
like that should be something that's maybe has a little more cultural prestige.
But the cultural part of it is, when you say it's government, is that they incentivized you getting rid of the man in your home so you can have more money from the state.
I also just love that this is under a YouTube called Fight Vids. I don't think this is much of a fight so much as a one-sided ass whooping. But here we go.
Can we oh yeah, this is the one
right here. This is the one.
So you be disrespectful to this motherfucker teacher? Oh, you know you're gonna ask me, right? Wait, how the fuck you in my pants? So what you tell us? What you tell? Get your ass. Get up. Don't play with me. Let's talk to him. Now what you tell him?
I'm sorry,
This part's
Everything
funny.
gone, nigga.
This
No
part's funny.
outside, no nothing. If this fucking woman come in, I'm gonna break your fucking face. Do you hear me? Have a nice day.
That's my favorite part.
Y'all have a nice day.
day.
Y'all have a nice day. It's got to be the funniest thing ever in the history of people.
So it's just,
It's brutal to watch.
yeah. So like,
But
you know,
my point was,
I have, you know,
my
the two
point.
stances
My
on it.
point was, what is she's trying? Like, yes, that's fucked up, and yes, it's excessive, and yes, does she need to get in his face and be like, if I come down here again, it's me or you? Of course not. But like, we also don't know the context of like, how many times has she been called down there? What did the little boy do? Because if the little boy punched a little girl in the fucking face and the teacher said, you can't do that, and he said, fuck you, bitch, then what is the appropriate response? You don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, we also don't know if like that behavior is like from what we're witnessing,
Mhm.
right? So at the same,
Correct. Yeah,
at the
it is
same time-
circular. And that was the point Luis J. Gomez made, was like, anything he's doing at school is probably because this is happening at home.
right? And this goes into a simultaneous like point. One is about the things that you're not allowed to say, and them trying to police what you're saying about it. And then we go into a point of like, yo, man, this comes back to the same cyclical thing of a dude in the house, a real man in the house. The kid's not going to school acting like that anyway. So the fact that the mother is the disciplinarian, the mother is the authority figure, the mother is the one who has to come. She had to leave work to come down there. She was pissed off, right? I have to come to this motherfucking place, right? So she means it's costing her money or taking time off of work. All of those
Maybe getting her in trouble at work.
all those things come back to the same point of like, wow, dude, where is a positive male role model in this? And
where is anybody helping this mother out in that regard?
yeah, well,
right.
And she's surrounded by, it was two other women that are saying, the teachers.
And what I said about that was funny, was I go, those women are watching this happen, which either means they're worthless piece of shit teachers, probably, but it also could mean that they believe that the punishment was worthy
was warranted,
was apt for the crime, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know,
and I think when she's like, yeah, have a nice day, it's almost like the teachers go, well, you heard her.
Yeah.
Get back in that classroom, motherfucker.
Yeah,
It's
just like
it's like it's amazing that you can watch that and just go, this mom is 100%. There were like,
it's hard. I can't believe anybody would try to say she's 100% awful and in the wrong, or people that think she's 100% in the right. And we were never saying this mother's 100% in the right.
it's
But
it's a 50-50
what I
thing.
did say was that, like, I caught whippings like this a handful, like less than a handful of times as a kid, and I never fucking acted
It's
out.
corrective action.
I would never act it out in public again. And what was interesting was the overwhelming amount of people that agreed with that sentiment and shared their stories were Black, and said, I took whoopings like this repetitively in public as a kid. And I do think, and people were having this debate back and forth, but like, and if you guys that are watching have thoughts or comments or whatever, jump in with them. But what I think was amazing is that there was a huge lack of understanding about the difference when this happens in public versus when it happens in private. And I think it is, when you're talking about whippings in private, I think not only is it terrible for young boys, but it's even worse for young girls, because there's such an internalized hatred that comes along with that. If it's not demonstrative in front of people, then it feels personal, and it feels like it's that your parents enjoying it to some degree. So like, I was never hit like that in private, like to that degree. I was hit like that in public. And what it immediately told me was, A, because this is happening in public, I'm in the wrong and I'm being made an example of. And I just don't think that there are enough moments where that happens with Black people policing each other's behavior at all, whether it's mother and son, father and son, brother to brother, or whatever. And when you talk about how to fix the culture, my argument is this is a step in the right direction.
Well, and sort of devil's advocate in this thing, how much of this is contributed to being triggered by words?
Well, you said I was going to set you up on this, but you set yourself up.
But being triggered by words and saying like, how dare you say something like this to a teacher, is going to result in physical violence. If you say anything like this, instead of like, yo, he's getting written, like sending him home like AJ Soprano or
Yeah.
something. He was like, you got fucking expelled or any of that. You're suspended. What the fuck? You know, then your parents have to deal with the fact that you got this fucking mouth on you that, you know, and I had a mouth. I got in trouble for things in school.
Same.
The reaction that you should be assaulted based on your words, this is what cements it. And this is what women who are raising boys teach them.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, because men don't teach other men that.
Yeah.
Men will be like, yo, you're a bitch. You're like, okay, pussy.
Yeah.
That's it. You put my hands on my sister. You put your hands on my daughter. You put your hands on my brother, my, you know, handicapped cousin, a kid I see you picking on. That's when the violence becomes just and righteous.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out of reactions from words
And emotion.
This is what you're teaching an entire generation. That an entire generation from the 1960s and prior, when young women be raising families on their own, single mothers, that number was less than 5%. Right now, as we're talking, that number is over 40%.
Yeah.
So 40% of 13% of the country is raised only by Black women. Think about that. And it's like, what is this? What is this?
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm just queuing it up. Keep going.
I'm saying 40% single mothers. That's an astronomical number.
Yeah.
And it's teaching 40% of 13% to be triggered by words, to act out emotionally. And the only way to respond is get in their face with violence.
Well, and you and I always say, it's like, it's so funny when you look at,
that's my devil's advocate.
no, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong about any of that. And that's one of the things I think is so funny when you look at the Black people who get offended by our jokes or comedy or commentary. It's always light-skinned dudes who grew up without a father, most likely.
Which,
right?
And a lot of gay ones that get mad at us.
Gay one. Yeah. So it's just like you have this, first of all, you have this basic thing of having to defend and justify and affirm your Blackness. Right. You also have this thing where you have to justify and affirm your masculinity because you're a fucking faggot. And, you know, like this goes to a premise that I'm working on. It's like,
I love it.
Real niggas don't have that. You know, like real, and I miss that. Like, that's what I grew up around. None of the Black dudes I grew up around are like, oh no, don't say that word in front of me. They'd be like, yeah, that's what I said about him, right? Like, so it's just like, it's like a completely different thing where, like, I don't think you understand how culturally disconnected you are from the reality of your own culture in terms of Blackness and masculinity. And the fact that the fact that I happen to be white is not going to prevent me from pointing it out to you.
Yeah, but like, when does it collide? And this is when our show's about. Is in sports. In sports is when it collides and comes out. And that's why the casual fans and women who they've been catering to get their money from have all these, oh my God, racism, this. On the flip side of both perspectives of, like, whether it's, you know, Bill Burr with the fast twitch, you know, a bit
muscle fiber.
Yeah, but like, that was like how all white guys thought. And they were like, oh no, don't do it.
Longer Achilles. Larry
Bird was a guy who was dominating people in the NBA. And he took offense to the fact Isaiah Thomas, Charles Barkley, any of the Dominique Wilkins, all these guys can attest to. They would go in and play them in Boston or anywhere else, and there would be a white guy checking Larry Bird, and he'd give him 30. And he would look to Isaiah and he goes, don't you ever put a fucking white guy on me again.
Yeah.
And he took offense to saying, like, the same thing that's in everybody's mind. Y'all think white people aren't as athletic. Fine. Then let us show you up. Let us bring the competition.
Yeah.
And Larry Bird taking that amongst himself of going, give me the blacks.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to work it.
Yeah.
Pause. Right. He's like, I'll put 35 points.
That's a clip, by the way, of Carl. Give me the blacks because I'm trying to work it.
Big pause.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
yo. So, but like, that's the same thing as black dudes going, it's a white boy, go at him.
Yeah.
It's this. You see you can play a video game. You can play 2K. Your guy's white.
This is one of your biggest crusades.
You're white. They're going at you in the wreck. They're like, white guy, give me the ball. And then they're just like, try to dunk on me or trying to. I'm like, nope, I have defense. And my guy's like this in the video game.
Yeah.
But it's,
you got one of those Kobe jersey perks.
they fucking,
Plus 10 defense, minus 10 soft landings.
dude, they to act like black people don't think the same exact way.
Absolutely.
Of like, and we talk about this too. We're advocates for bring back white corners. They don't even let them audition for the part.
Listen, everybody, Cooper DeJean is one of the top fucking guys in the draft, and everyone is like, he probably projects as a safety.
Yeah.
That would be like me going, this young man probably projects as a prisoner.
But it's the it's the Lamar Jackson thing.
Yeah.
How he's a running back.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's black and fast.
We'd really love to see him work out as a wide receiver at the combine.
Because he's black and fast. You're saying, oh, well, quarterback, they got to think. Well, what are you saying?
Yeah.
They're low IQ, but super athletic.
Right.
You're doing the same thing.
Right.
So why is it frowned upon for us to critique that behavior or point it out or think it's hilarious?
Yes, which is what
hilarious.
It is. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, there is a fundamental belief in the black community that if a white boxer, a white basketball player, or a white offensive lineman slammed you on the ground or beat you in
you gonna take that?
There is a loss to your fucking family. Like, you gonna let that white boy do you like that?
Yeah.
I got in a fight at FAU my first day at practice when I transferred in. I finally got to practice. I had to sit and wait for NCAA compliance. I had to wait for all this
Long
paperwork to go through.
The portal existed.
Bro, I'm sitting there waiting, and my coach, Dale Williams, he's just like, I know you want to practice. I know you want to hit somebody. First day I'm out there, they're all conference defensive end, Doc. This motherfucker lines up, Robert Sinclair lines up, boom, first play, I drove him 10 yards off the ball. They was like, our D-line coach at the time, I'm running scout team because I can't play, I have to sit out, transfer rules. The first thing he yelled to him, motherfucker, he said, "That, you gonna let that white boy do you like that?"
Yeah.
Lined him up again, same shit happened. I ended up slamming him on the ground. The whole defense jumped me like it was prison.
Yeah.
My first day in practice
for doing your job. For
going out, and they're like, wow, a white boy did you. Yeah. That's how they view it.
Yeah.
So in there's never been a case in which white people go, damn, dude, you gonna let that black dude do you like that? Because it's assumed. And we've been programmed.
Maybe prison.
Yeah, but maybe. But in sports, we've been programmed to be like, they're more athletic than you.
Yeah.
They're faster than you. They're bigger than you. They're stronger than you. And it's a belief that is carried onto everything. So like, going back to Shane has that fucking line where he's like, I still have parts of that, anytime a white guy catches a pass. And he's like, yes. Oh, they got him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that sentiment is 100% in everybody's minds watching the game.
Right.
But nobody could say it.
Yeah.
That's why we exist.
Right. That's why we do what we do.
That's why. Because there's no way I'm not going to point out that the fucking white dude just ran faster than all the black dudes, Christian McCaffrey, and there's no way I'm going to point out that like the big strong black guy got knocked the fuck out by the white guy, Tyson Fury. It's like they cling to the thing of the great white hype because they know they only got one athlete every once in a while that could do something. And it's not the case. The only reason that we can cling to that is because you're telling us y'all are way more athletic.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my fucking Hitler Jesse Owens joke.
Yeah.
Like, that's why that's so funny to me, is because here he was doing experiments to try and make the best athlete, and he totally forgot that black dudes existed.
Right.
It was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know? It's
again, not to spoil your stand-up thing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why it's here.
The part where he just presumably turns around to the German scientist. Like, clearly, he's on the juice.
He's on the juice.
So
Has to be.
how's the
How
explanation?
can a Negro beat an Aryan? Is his thoughts. He's just like, well, obviously you haven't witnessed enough of these guys.
Yeah.
You should see Wilt Chamberlain.
So yeah, I mean, we're not above critiquing black culture. We're also people who participated in a lot and find it funny. And one of the things that was so hilarious to me about that whooping video with her getting in his face is that it reminded me of this, which is maybe one of my favorite scenes in a movie of all time.
Don't move. I'll blow your goddamn head smooth off. Now back up. Slowly. Don't say a word.
Hey man,
I said don't say a word.
Craig went in there, took a doo-doo. You ain't seen getting nothing in it, nothing to try to make it fresh. He ain't do nothing to try to make it fresh in there.
Come on. Little motherfucker gonna try to rob me. Well, I'm gonna show you how we do it up here in Pinky's, nigga.
I wasn't trying to rob.
Shut up! I'll bust a cap up in your ass. Now, what you done with Day Day and Roach?
That is my piece.
Shut up! Now, who sent you, nigga?
Nobody sent me.
Say another motherfucking word, and this shit is over. And I ain't playing, nigga.
I love it. Fucking love it, dude.
You ain't got no gun. But where the weed at?
I ain't got no weed.
Shut the fuck. Shut. Did I say no? Oh shit! Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else. Say something else, nigga. I'm gonna tie your old monkey ass up.
It's one of my favorite. The reason it made me laugh is because when the mother got in the little boy's face, she was like, "It's on." Then it reminded me of that scene when every time he tries to shut up.
The whole thing about that culture and videos, and then obviously I want to tie that to sports. This is something that this is a segue. I wanted to talk about something that my buddy Terrence T Knight brought up, and we asked, like, who is the greatest college football player ever when we were talking.
Yeah.
And a couple of me and my buddies said probably Reggie Bush. It's probably this guy. You know, people can make a case for Tebow. He's like the first sophomore to win a Heisman.
Some people say Manziel won a Heisman and as a rookie.
T Knight made the case. I analyzed it.
Terrence Knighton, pot roast. For
processed
people
it.
Not paying attention.
I processed it, and he's 100% right that the greatest college football player of all time is Cam Newton, hands down.
I would have never thought this, but go on.
And I feel bad that I didn't think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh man.
And Carl, did you not think of it because he is kind of a flamboyant guy who dresses like the Cat in the Hat?
No. It was just more of like,
my favorite response is when women who don't know who Cam Newton is are immediately like, he's gay, right? Clearly, look at his outfits. He's definitely gay, right? But meanwhile, like Kanye could be dressed like an astronaut with a dildo stuck to the helmet, and there's like, this guy's a genius.
Cam, first of all, making the case for his college, he leaves Florida because of criminality. You know, stealing a laptop, whatever, young kid. He gets kicked out of Florida. He goes to JUCO, right? He goes to a school in Texas. Right? He wins that national championship. Then he goes 1 year to Auburn with no help, no receivers, no running backs that are awesome, barely an O-line type shit. Went undefeated in the SEC. Undefeated in the SEC. never been done before or since, wins a national championship, goes to the NFL, wins Rookie of the Year, all that stuff. Like his pace continued, right? And you're like, wow, that, like looking back, you're like, that's the greatest college football player that ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he's 6'6", 275. With pads on, he's 6'8".
Yeah.
I remember him, they played LSU, and Patrick Peterson was the best corner, best secondary player, probably the best defensive player in the entire draft.
Patrick Peterson is probably, nobody talks about Patrick Peterson, but Patrick Peterson is probably the best defensive back in the NFL since Charles Woodson.
No.
You don't think so?
No, it was Revis.
Okay. Well, you're a little biased,
but
okay.
I mean, check the numbers. But Patrick Peterson was also fast. Cam, watch that Auburn LSU game again. Cam Newton puts it in 6th gear and wheels off on him on a touchdown. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's also only a player, like at the time when I like was in limbo and teams and trying to get, me and my dad were watching football. And my dad wasn't like, let's watch every game ever. And we watched all of Cam Newton's games, every single one of them. And he was like, my dad was kind of like a Tim Duncan fan. He always would be like, hey, Timmy, nobody's better than Timmy. And we would watch the Cam Newton games and go, holy shit, this guy is awesome. And my dad would make those comparisons. This guy's like Tim Duncan of football. And looking at that, it brings up this from this weekend.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you can't take all the credit for this because RG3 kind of made some of these same points on Twitter this weekend. But my question for you, Carl, is why did Cam Newton come up, Carl? Why did this even come up in the first place?
So, like I said, he's 6'6", 280 pounds of awesomeness. And I don't know if you remember this, but Cam Newton has got into some scraps in the league. Do you remember at practice when what's his name? Norman, the corner.
Josh Norman
came to it was on the Panthers and they fought.
Yeah.
And Cam was like laughing the whole time. I say that to say this. At a 7-on-7 tournament or whatever this weekend, a bunch of teens,
whatever
scholars, cultural enrichers.
Yeah. Wakandans
attempted to jump the 6'6", 280-pound former NFL MVP and greatest college player of all time. Now he is wearing the sorting hat from Hogwarts. And we're going to watch this video. I want you to see how the Hogwarts hat doesn't even move. And it's 3-on-1, then becomes 6-on-1. They never get his hat off. There's also never been a fair fight in the Wakandan community.
Never.
There's always a jumping. Look at that, dude. Look at him try and grab him, and he's like stiff arming, swinging, and then everybody else is going, yo, chill.
The funniest thing that I saw in response to that, and I should have it pulled up, there was a girl on Twitter who said, Cam Newton getting in a fight dressed like the Wicked Witch of the West was not on my bingo card. I was like, that shit is hilarious.
That was amazing.
But you know, I got to be honest. If you're gonna dress like that, you better be ready to fight.
But isn't that like kind of the point of Cam, like right now?
Yes.
I've never been more of a Cam fan than right now.
Yeah.
I think like I was such a big Cam and college fan. Loved him. I was like, oh, he beats Peyton Manning tonight when we watched the Super Bowl. Then after, like towards the end of his career, you're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? He started dressing like an auntie. He just started like wearing like grandma Narnia closet clothes.
Yeah.
And then he makes these
the weekend hair.
Well, and then he's
got hair like the
but
Weeknd.
He'll host his podcast and like Charleston White or somebody controversial will be on it, and he's like, man, you trying to give me cancer? Or you trying like you can't
like
say
Shannon?
anything?
Come on, Cat.
Yeah. He was like, what you trying to do to me, man?
Yeah.
And just acts like this coy fucking gay guy. And then this happened, and I was like, "Oh yeah, bro, that's Cam."
Yeah.
That made me. There's like a reminder of like, don't do it. And why do these motherfuckers try athletes? This goes back to that fucking bum shit.
You know what?
Of the patrons calling the athletes bums and thinking they could do it.
Well, that's the thing that bothers me too. Is like I don't even know what the context of this fight was.
Do you need to?
They're black. That's the context. No, but it almost felt like some influencer shit. Like they were like, "Yo, get the camera. I'm gonna roll up and try to fight Cam Newton," and it's just like, and you might lose, motherfucker. How bad would it look for you to get beat by a dude dressed like the Wicked Witch of the West?
I just feel like he was in a tent signing autographs.
Yeah,
and they came up to him and was like, "Fuck," and like they said something to him slick, and he just stood up. So like, what you want to do about it then?
yeah.
And then they just like tried to swing on him, so he like stood up and was like, "I will fight every single one of you."
Yeah.
It was like a kung fu movie.
And Riley Cooper said that to some of them at a Jenny Chesney concert. It was a real problem for everybody, but they do be trying to do that.
It was like a black exploitation kung fu flick from the 70s. It was like Bruce Leroy, like this one. He's like, he was like,
he looked like Black Raiden, but instead of lightning coming out of his head, it was dreadlocks.
It was just I don't know what do you call the sorting hat.
Yeah, that's what the sorting hat. Yeah,
is hey, we gonna sort y'all out, and then just like some cheesy ass line like that. Cam Newton is. What would his name be in that fight in like Mortal Kombat?
Oh, I don't know.
It can't be
It can't be
Cam who's the guy? Who was the guy in Mortal Kombat with the hat?
Liu Kang.
No.
Raiden.
Kung Lao.
Oh, Kung Lao. Okay.
Kung Lao.
There was Raiden. And
So
Kung Lao.
so what would his be? Kung Loud.
Kong Lao. Lao.
God, loud blacks. That's
Kong Loud. Kong Loud.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, Carl. Kong Loud.
Oh.
So Kong Loud. So big.
Do you think that this will set up Cam's return to a team because a GM or somebody goes, boy, he's still got some fight in him.
Yeah.
Literally. They just go like, man,
Yeah.
dude, all of them, imagine him in a pocket right now. Like he can fight off all of them. Imagine what he could do with dudes with helmets.
I don't know. I don't think he's coming back into the league because I think that you want to talk about needing a sorting hat in the NFL. Where the fuck are all these quarterbacks going is the question. I've seen Fields to the Raiders, Fields to the Falcons, Fields everywhere.
He's going to the Steelers.
We talked earlier this week about Zach Wilson going to the Rams, which I think we both think makes sense because, if McVay can't fix you, then you can't be fixed. I mean, you saw what he did with Carson Wentz for 4 or 5 weeks. So, I just think it's, I think there's just too many people on the old Wheel of Fortune to pick from to throw Cam, a 40-year-old, 37-year-old, 38-year-old Cam Newton into the mix of quarterback possibilities.
Family Feud is more of their show.
Yeah,
Than
yeah.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant just like chance.
Yeah. Show me potato salad.
Alabama roulette.
I don't care what anybody says. Steve Harvey hosting Family Feud has some of the best outtakes of any show you'll ever watch.
What?
Yeah.
He said, what? They just look at him like,
yeah.
Dude, the best is when a black family's on the show and the son or the cousin or like the one family member they bring along says a dumbass answer and Steve is like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
We on TV. Like he's like telling you like, everybody at home.
Send the people back 50, 60
dude,
years.
he's like, everybody at home gonna see this, right? He's just like, come on, you got the white family over there.
Yeah. Who, by the way, the whole time
and they're like, good answer, good answer, good answer.
The white family's just terrified of looking bad the entire time. Like, we want to beat them, but not like we used to.
So, and then,
not like that. Dude, we want to win in competition.
And the only reason I say that Family Feud is like black people's show, other than Price is Right, is that in Family Feud, you don't have to even get the word right. It just has to be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And they just go like, there was a thing about like what fear of elephant. I just watched the episode the other day. I was like, what would you have? What was one thing that you don't want an elephant to do to you, right? And he was just like, come over there, hit you with the trunk. It was like, show me, hit you with the trunk. And it was attack. It was on the wall. And they're like, that counts.
Yeah.
If this was Jeopardy, they would have thrown him out of the building.
By the way,
like, I'm sorry. And it's minus 500 points for that.
Grading like that is causing them to not be as advanced as they'd like to be in society. Like we're grading them on a curve. That's like the
Family Feud curve.
That's the Family Feud
gotta be close.
affirmative action. If you're in the ball, listen, if you say words, we're going to give you the points.
Show me, stab by the trunk.
What was I going to say? I think the feud should just be white families versus black families. Let's have one game show where it's just race on race and a battle of the wits.
Mad TV did that in the
happens.
90s, dude. Did you ever see that?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
When Louis Anderson was the host. Do you remember when Louis Anderson was the host of Family Feud?
And they did a sketch because didn't Will Sasso play Louis Anderson?
It was honestly is one of the greatest sketches ever from Mad TV. It's the Miggers versus the Crackers. And they're like, it's actually pronounced Miger. And you're like, yeah, whatever.
Is this it? Racist Family Feud?
Mad TV?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is it in Japanese?
Well, that could be the only place that allows it.
No.
What the fuck are we looking at here?
Yes. This is it. Yes.
Introducing.
This is one of the funniest sketches they ever did on Mad TV.
Ready
Dude.
for action. Playing against the Miger family. On
He keeps calling them the Miggers.
Let's play the Family Feud.
And they go, slavery. Man, show me slavery. Let's face it, some of us miss it. It's like, dude, it's so good.
That is how you would walk out.
Can we turn it up at all?
Yeah.
Can I do it?
Dear Lord, if you have any mercy in your heart, please just kill me right now. Come on, do it. Strike me down, please. All right, I guess he's busy. Play the feud. Hey, okay.
This is my favorite sketch, dude. I'll tell
Here
you.
we go. All right.
How you doing, Robert Miger? Good luck to you.
Darren Krager, thanks a lot.
All right. It's the Miggers versus the Crackers. What a show.
Louis, listen, it's Miger, not Migger, bro.
Hey, cut me a break, bro. I haven't seen my penis in 8 years, all right? Play a feud. Top ranchers on the board there. You guys do the thing. Everyone's seen her as a stupid crap. Here we go. Name an African-American magazine. What you got?
Jet.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
They got great chicken recipes. Show me Jet. Hey, all right. Yeah. Hey, here's a chance for the Crackers to steal from the Miggers for a change. What do you think?
Hey, well,
Telling
I'm
you,
not
dude.
going to offend anyone here, but I
Guy's a
think
PC.
there's a magazine called Chocolate.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay.
Easy there, Mark Furman. You know what? I'm not even going to look at the board. You get back to the podium where you came from. Think about what you just said. We're trying to play a friendly game here. Get over there. Give the Miggers the points. There we go.
This is the best sketch they ever did, dude.
There we go. All right. Hey, Robert Migger, what do you think of that Darren Cracker calling you a chocolate bunny over there?
No, I didn't call him a chocolate bunny.
You call me a chocolate bunny one more time, I'm gonna take these $400 gators and stick them up your lily white Casper ass.
Hey, can we play the game?
Excuse me for a second. Eat me! All right, let's meet the rest of the family.
Hi, Louie.
Hey, Sharon, how you doing? How'd you become a Migger?
Oh, I married one. I married my husband.
Look, sweetheart, I love you, but you ain't above getting your face slammed here.
Yeah,
Like your style. Play on, player. Okay.
Play on,
Over here. Who's this?
Oh, this is my Uncle Tom.
Too easy. Okay. Who's this? Where we go here?
That's our daughter, Shabukwi.
Shabukwi Migger. I love the way that rolls off my tongue. Okay. Shabukwi, top 4 answers on the board. Name something terrible the white people have done to black people. Something terrible.
Oh, that's easy. Slavery.
Yeah.
Good.
Slavery.
Let's face it. Some of us miss it. Show me slavery.
It's only 4th. It's not even the top answer.
Get on over there. Here we go.
Pants are down.
Okay.
Dude,
Don't
this
worry,
is the best thing they ever did.
Dude,
on
I've
that
never
TV.
seen. How have I never seen this?
Walker, what do you got for me, honey?
It's Gertie, not dirty.
I am a fat, depressed, effeminate snob. So cut me a break, Dirty Cracker! Let me have a little joy! Name something horrible the white people have done to black people.
Wayne
Okay, I
Brady?
got it. Yeah, we
Wayne
got
Brady?
Wayne Brady. We're gonna go with
Wayne
Wayne Brady. Good answer. Good answer.
Number 1
I know,
answer.
that's one sweet piece of ass. Show me Wayne Brady!
57 people.
Hey, this is getting good. If only I had a leg of lamb and a Diet Coke, I'd be in heaven right now. All right, that reminds me, I got a box of burritos in the microwave backstage. Let's skip the rest of this crappy show. We've all seen it. Fast forward. Which one of you niggers wants to play the lightning round? Get over here.
Okay.
All right.
Louis, one more thing. After the show, I'm gonna bust your ass.
All right. Get in line, Farrakhan. Give me 30 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Name a race that drinks more than Indians.
What kind of question is that?
You want the money or not? Name a race that drinks more than Indians.
The Irish.
Good answer. Okay. Now, who's dumber, a rock or Darren Cracker?
Oh, Darren Cracker.
All right. Who would you rather do, Dirty Cracker or Patrick Ewing?
Patrick Ewing, but they're both ugly.
Don't you go calling me ugly, you big black bastard.
Hey, now this is a family feud. I love it when people are more miserable than me. Tune in tomorrow night when the Seaman family meets the vaginas.
Dude, good for them. Good for fucking Mad TV.
That's what, and so
How
that's
is
what I
that
grew.
not? That's why is
So
that
when we
not
go,
what a
when we talk
sketch
about
show
like
is now?
when we talk about like culture and like how we talk and all that, that's what I grew up with. That's what I was going to school like fucking repeating. Like, yo, did you guys see Mad TV last night? Like my
Steve
brother.
Evans, they could never make this today. No, they could.
No, they could. We
They
could. And if you support our Patreon, we will.
Yeah.
We are
Patreon.com/The Big Uglies Podcast.
We would absolutely love to do this. It's honestly, to be quite frank, they could never make this today. It's like, no, you just have to have a cast that are willing to.
Yeah.
You have to have willing participants who be in there and not a bunch of pussies who are like afraid that the sketch, I hate Ari Spears, but to his credit, even the unfunny fucking sketch he did with Tiffany Haddish, that motherfucker was, he was still like, try.
Yeah.
And people will still try to make things, whether they're unfunny, whether they're received well or anything, that's a different story. But like the attempt is still being made by people. You just have to have a bunch of willing participants, like on a cast of a show, to do that. And the reason that Mad TV was able to do that and not SNL is because it was on Fox. And Fox at the time used to be like, yo, we're against the other big networks.
Well, didn't Fox also have it In Living Color?
And The Simpsons.
Yeah. So like they understood comedy was more edgy.
And the Tracy Ullman Show.
And you know what I think is really interesting about that is like, oh yeah, the more diverse casts did edgier material.
Yes.
And it wasn't because it was all black or all white.
No.
That was integrated. So like when you come up through the comedy world and you actually integrate with both the black scene and the white scene and all that stuff, you have this wide open mentality about what can be funny. It's and that's what I think is so funny is when these dork blacks on the internet are like, you wouldn't say that in front of people. And I go, here's video of me saying it to a black man's face in an interview. Here's video of me doing it in an all black comedy club. Here's like, how many fucking receipts do you need to know that there is not, it's not about pushing buttons and there's not a fear to it, because I know in my gut that I'm not coming from a racist place. I'm like, but I do hate them though.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
It's
Like
that whole cast themselves. And first of all, Will Sasso doing the Louis Anderson is the most self-deprecating version of that. They're shitting on depression. They're shitting on his fucking obesity. They're shitting on a miserable. They said he's effeminate, so it was like a in the closet gay guy. Because even when he said,
which he was,
even with the Wayne Brady thing, he was like that sweet piece of ass.
Yeah,
like they made fun of so many elements.
It was
in
so
that,
layered.
Yeah,
yeah,
and for people to be like, this couldn't be done today. It's just like, well, it depends. It depends on whether or not you think racial humor is funny or whether or not you want to shy away from it because you're a pussy. Yeah. It depends on whether, because Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin would get on stage and be like, you fucking one-eyed fucking spook. And they'd be like, shut up, you dago wop motherfucker.
Yeah.
Let's sing a song together.
Yeah, it was fun.
The comic relief in between songs made the Rat Pack be above everyone else.
Listen, it's as simple as this, and I think you would agree with me. If you get offended by words or jokes, you've never been in a locker room for anything other than to clean it, you fucking geek.
And it's why they said locker room. And when the Trump shit happened, and they were like, it's locker room talk. You know that women and gay, they all associated locker rooms with, and they're like, I've been in plenty of locker rooms. We're not talking about your local gym.
Yeah, we're not talking about the locker room at the Y.
Yeah, we're talking about organized sports around men.
Yeah.
That's what we mean when we say locker room talk.
Yeah.
But I thought you would know that reference to that sketch, and the fact that you just now saw it for the first time makes me so happy in my heart.
Yeah, it makes me happy too. It's like, oh wow, there's actually good comedy out there. And that was what I thought was funny, was like,
that was the 90s,
you know, like the joke that I made this weekend that by the way, nobody was offended by. There were two people, that one of them was today, and then one of them was this geek this weekend. But it was like people understood it. People are getting it. Like they're understanding that the fucking, and by the way, if you think I'm wrong about this, just watch. Anytime you try to debate black people about why a joke containing the word is offensive, they'll never do it. They'll never do it because there is no intellectual point behind it.
Right. The last intellectual point about that was Chappelle.
The dude this morning, yes, that's a great, and I'll let you mention that. But like the dude this morning, I go, hey, just explain to me why the joke containing the word is racist. Right? Because the joke was essentially, if you don't follow me on X, which you have to be watching this right now, but the joke was essentially based on the Gemini AI publishing every picture of everyone as black. And redheaded libertarian Josie went like, show me a picture of a ginger person, and they were all black people with orange hair. Yeah. And I just said, you guys are having the wrong response to AI. I'm actually relieved to know that I come from a long line of other orange-haired niggers such as myself, which is a joke on the fact that many, many times we have said that if it is a mindset or a series of personality traits, that you and I definitely qualify, right? Right? If it's based on economics or vocabulary or education, that's us, dog. Right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to the Chappelle thing from his special about standards and practices.
Yeah. And that was in Sticks and Stones?
No, it was after that.
It was one right after Sticks and Stones?
Yeah, I think so.
Not to be like, that was the last good one, but that was the last good one.
Yeah.
And him saying the whole joke, he's like, well, you can't say that. And
you can't say faggot because you're not gay.
And he goes, well, I'm not a nigger either.
Right.
Is a big fucking...
That's a bar.
That's a big, poignant point of emphasis to be like, you're calling me that in your head anyway.
Anyway, yes.
So I'm not going to succumb to that shit.
Right.
I'm better than that by talking about it.
Yeah.
Or saying the word that you think is taboo.
Right.
And I think that's a good...
It's a good way to end
launching point.
It's a good way to end it because I got to jump on another show here in 5 minutes. But
yeah.
Thank you guys for another great. Speaking of N-words, let me go over here and talk to my Negro Anthony Cumia. First time I've been on his show since the old
since the tour ended.
Since the tour ended and since his heart surgery.
Oh,
so looking forward to that. So head over, if you want to keep the fun going, guys, head over to Compound. Check us out over there. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week.